Welcome to Base to Base Military Homeschooling, the podcast sponsored by Military Homeschoolers Association. It is designed specifically for military homeschoolers navigating the unique challenges of educating our children while moving to new communities every 2 to 3 years. I'm your host, Natalie Mack, and I know firsthand the challenges and rewards of homeschooling while on the move. So where in the large world of military homeschooling are we today? Listen in to our incredible guest. Hello, I'm Natalie Mack, and I am the founder of Military Homeschoolers Association, and I am the podcaster for Base to Base Military Homeschooling. So welcome. Today, let's talk about PCSing while homeschooling. So don't you just love that permanent part of the acronym PCS? It's a joke, right? Nothing is permanent until you retire and move to your retired home, right? Your place that you've chosen. But the other times throughout your active duty military career, the P permanent is not actually the reality, right? And so before we get going anymore, where are you joining me from? And how often do you move? And how many moves have you actually accomplished? Right? We have moved 16 times prior to retirement. We are a retired family, a Navy chaplain's family. It's been 3 years since we retired after 34 years of service. So we're going to get going. If you're watching later, do a hashtag replay. Let me know. And please be sure to like and follow this channel and share it out. You are a military homeschooler. This podcast is for you. Please share it into your community with your fellow military homeschoolers. So let's get going. So one of the questions I'm asked most about is PCSing. And because of this, I began this podcast, Base to Base Military Homeschooling. It's all about military homeschoolers like ourselves, right? Who PCS. So the guests will be homeschool mamas, right, who can speak knowledgeably about particular duty stations with all the deets like co-ops, support groups, homeschooling on their installation. Is there classical conversations locally? What key resources? Who is my school liaison? What type of services has my school liaison provided to me? What about library? Do they have story times for homeschoolers? What other co-ops exist outside of the military installation? Is there a military homeschool group or co-op on the installation? How do I reach it? What is it like to live there? What are the laws like and following the laws? And can you help me understand that? All of those questions I get asked all the time. So this podcast, Base to Base Military Homeschooling, is designed to help you PCS better, more well-informed, and really with the knowledge that you need to move to that next duty station with confidence. So how can we survive PCS and homeschooling, you might ask? And if you have PCS and homeschooled, then please put your tips in the comments, because we're all in this community together and we all have so much incredible information. So bring it out, talk to me, put it in the comments, okay? So it sort of depends on when and who, if you can survive PCS and homeschooling, right? When are you moving? If it's the summertime, then I always recommend to take it easy. Unless you are a rising college-bound 12th grader. Then your work is probably going to be college visits, SAT prep, looking for the Common App opening on August 1st to see what that essay, what the prompts are. You're going to be looking for that. If it's mid-year, then high schoolers should be independent and they need to bring their books in the car. If younger kids, then bring that which is easiest for them to do alone. If this won't work, then audiobooks, YouTube playlists, and readers in the car will have to suffice. So if you have followed me with my book, 101 Tips for Homeschoolers, available on Amazon. There's some tips in that book about PCSing as well. So here are a few additional tips that we want to talk about. And like I said, add them in the comments of the YouTube. And if you're listening on an audio through Spotify or Amazon or any of the audio podcast formats, then definitely you can go ahead and just listen in and give us some comments right after you have listened in. One thing I want to say is Semper Gumby. Be flexible with military life and demands on sponsors' time, your active duty sponsors' time. Schedule schooling around some of these variants to decrease your stress. So when they are off, or they have a 48 or 96 or any time off, then look ahead, because they typically know when that's going to be, unless it's a surprise due to doing well as a unit, but typically they do know. So go ahead and plan your homeschool life around that time off. Get out, enjoy, see what's happening in your community, plan a trip, go on a picnic, go to the local zoo, any number of things. Doesn't have to be expensive, right? Unless you choose to do something that costs a lot of money. But enjoy that time. But be flexible, because you might be sticking to your homeschool schedule, and then your husband or your active duty sponsor says, I got time off. Let's go do such and such. Go ahead and go. Enjoy it. The academics is one part of homeschooling, but life experiences and experiential learning is another part of it. So don't minimize that. Another thing is, like I said earlier, bring your homeschool curriculum and or your learning activities in case your shipment is delayed, especially for those Oconus moves. I say pack it in the express shipment. All right. Local field trips and going to historical sites, that's learning too. And so even if you don't have your books yet, but your PCS, and you may be traveling from coast to coast or one state to the next state, not so far away as a coast to coast, then you can actually still enjoy field trips and historical sites along the way. That the kids plan that, get the maps out. I know we don't use maps much anymore, right? But we're homeschooling, so I know you got maps, and it's a great skill to teach your kids. Get the maps out. How else can you PCS well and survive homeschooling? Well, I always say join spouses groups and ask lots of questions to get connected. There are homeschoolers in these spouses groups, and there are people who know homeschoolers who maybe they aren't homeschooling themselves, but their neighbor is. Get connected before you actually move. Another thing is join HSLDA to stay abreast of state homeschool regulations, including Department of Defense overseas moves. Get connected with your installation SLO or school liaison officer for resources and use of base facilities. Find local military co-ops and support groups to join. Most of them have Facebook groups. If you're looking for one, put in the comments. I'll be able to help you out to get you connected before you go. Join state organizations. I know you probably have said, I'm only there for 2 or 3 years. Why bother? Why spend the money? Well, a couple of reasons. I would say because bloom where you are planted is one reason. The second reason is those state organizations have a lot of resources. Have you ever looked at their website? Have you ever checked it out to see what you might be missing that could help you and your family homeschool well? They often have field trips and state homeschool days and all kinds of opportunities, as well as military homeschooler. Guess what? As you're PCSing from one state to the other, who's doing the work? Lobbying to keep your freedom to homeschool there and vibrant and available for you when you move to that next state. The state orgs are doing the work. So consider, even if you don't think you're going to use it, it's benefiting you and your fellow military homeschooler because they are the lobbyists. They are the ones keeping the freedom for for you to homeschool. It's worth it to support them and join. They thrive on membership and donations. So consider again, if you're not one that has supported your state org, reconsider. It is very important. Hopefully, these tips have been helpful to you. I'm really excited that you have joined us here at the Military Homeschoolers Association YouTube channel, and that you have found this podcast, Base to Base Military Homeschooling. We'll be back with another episode very soon. Share this out into your community and like and follow this YouTube channel. Thank you very much.